And now, we continue with Episode 2, Part 2. I'm even sure that many of you, like myself, have struggled or are currently struggling with even accepting the fact that your life has meaning. Believe me when I say that it most certainly does. I've discovered a very simple way to at least get you started on discovering your path to fulfillment and actually getting to wake up excited about the day. We'll be talking about that on the next episode, though, not because I'm trying to milk the situation or anything. I just believe that I've given you enough to think about for 1 week, and I don't want one good message to drown out the other. But because I think you're kind of cool, listen, don't question it. Just receive the dang compliment. Sheesh. Practice. Say thank you. Anyway, I'll give you something of a hint before I go. Remember, this is not a boast. Because I was not able to do this by my own power. I was not able to do this by myself. But because of my journey with changing my self-perception by receiving a new identity in Christ, doing the soul work, as in working on the health of my mind, will, and emotions, and actually accepting value for my life. Because of all those things I just mentioned, I can count of at least 3 beautiful souls that still walk this earth right now with equally gorgeous smiles because of my desperate flailing attempts, honestly, at reminding them of their true value. At those times, I didn't have nearly the caliber of language or vocabulary or experience and discernment that I do now. Not that it's been perfected either. I just mean that it's leagues ahead of where I used to be, trust me. I realize, though, that I happen to be living in one of the better case scenarios as it relates to these sorts of encounters. Not everyone can say the same. Again, I know this is pretty heavy for being only the second episode, but I mean business. I'm not here to simply entertain. I'm here to heal and grow with you, preferably while getting you to smile here and there. But if there's anything about what I've communicated that rubbed you the wrong way or triggered some sort of past trauma, could you do me the honor or the favor of sharing your vulnerability and perhaps letting me know the ways you've gone about navigating such things? I will not promise changing to everyone's whim or seeking to make everyone happy, but I will promise an open mind and perpetual progress. To operate as our true self, we need the space to safely be vulnerable. Notice how there's no mention of eternal comfort. Growth is anything but comfortable. But don't let that scare you away. On the other side of the growth, that painful growth that you have to go through, it's you, the true you. And I want to make this clear. My whole shtick with this podcast is promoting the thought of discovering and nurturing and growing into your true self. But I don't want anyone to think that that means that who they are right now is worthless or is unimportant, because there is no better version of you if there isn't a current version of you. The you listening right now is so important. The you listening right now is so valuable. The you listening right now is indispensable. Hear me when I say that the you right now is just as important, if not more important, in this current time than the you, the hypothetical you in the future, the better you that you're chasing. Continue to chase that, continue to grow, continue to progress, but respect who you are right now. That's important. I know this just turned into a whole second message, so I gotta summarize everything I talked about earlier, which is a ton of work. But I hope I haven't derailed you too much. May this message stick. All right, so let's wrap it up. This has been a great episode. I've had so much fun speaking all of this out to you. Most of it is scripted, but I do go off script in many, various sections. And I'm sure some of you may be able to tell when the scripts run out and when I start running in, whichever. There's still more script to go, but I just want to, kind of take a step back and let you know that this isn't all just something that I'm reading. And even if it was all something that I'm reading, I wrote all of this. This is all poured out from the depths of my soul. I believe that's important because if I want your soul to be fed or to be touched or to be impacted and influenced in a positive way by anything I have to say, then it has to come from a genuine place. And there's no more a genuine source than one soul. Either way, I just want to bring home the fact that it's all genuine. So let's summarize everything that I went over. My time in the military was marked by many, many highs and lows, but every single one of those involved people. And when I mentioned that essay that I wrote it because my heart bled for the many brothers and sisters that I could think about that were having hard times when I was in the military. People I spoke to, people I was around. Heck, one of those people that I'd mentioned as far as the 3 souls thing, one of those people is a fellow service member. I served with her for 3 years, roughly. No, 2. I think it was 2. And so, realizing that so many people have died because they didn't have someone with enough influence to protect them in a moment of fragility, in moments or in seasons of fragility and instability for one reason or another, whether it was actual mental health issues or just overall life clamping down on them, the results were the same. They didn't have somebody with enough influence to protect them, to give them the space. And so I wanted to rise through the ranks in order to not just do that, but to have the opportunity to create the sort of environments that promoted making it safe for such situations or for such people. That was my goal. But I didn't get to that because I was intimidated by my own future, like I'd mentioned. So, having left the military, I am now doing this. And again, to summarize, I had to start with a why. And then I had to realize what held me back, which I had already explained is just my own limiting beliefs about my rank and not having enough quote-unquote power. And then the scalable steps, I'm taking them right now. This is where I'm at. I just did not want to get to the place where a year from now, I'm thinking to myself, why didn't I start the podcast last year? I'm not doing that anymore. So here we are. This is how this is how I go from being stuck where I was to thinking as, speaking as, and living as my true self. I'm living it right now. And there's more for me to do. There are so many more areas for me to grow in. But comparatively to a couple years ago, this is my true self. I am so happy recording this right now. And I can guarantee you I was not as happy standing a watch on an old wooden ship in the middle of freezing Boston weather. Not the best of times. Still a pretty dope station, honestly. But I digress. To you, my dear, dear precious listener, I want to say thank you again. You made it through part 1 and part 2, barely flinching at either. Or maybe you did. But that doesn't change the fact that you finished. To that, I say, well done. Continue your day, your week, your month, and year with that same energy. A finisher. That, my beloved friends, is what it takes to think as, speak as, and live as the TRU-U. Thanks for listening.